everyone. I'm Jane Applegath. Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone, where some of the world's most successful self-made women and men share their multi-million-dollar ideas, their high-performance habits, visionary mindsets, and resources so you can hit the go button on your epic life. I'm so excited to welcome back Leonard Perlmutter. Not only is he the author of a brilliant new book titled Your Conscience, the key to unlocking limitless wisdom and creativity and solve all of life's challenges, but also the founder of the revered American Meditation Institute, AMI, and the originator of the third annual National Conscious Month to take place January 2022. The goal to encourage individuals across the nation to practice consciously using their conscience as their guide in thought, word, and deed. Since 1996, AMI has provided comprehensive training in the world's oldest holistic mind-body medicine centered around one of the revolutionary principles: the human conscience is the key to unlock limitless wisdom and creativity to solve all of life's challenges. According to Leonard, this January's month-long observation is a vital time to raise awareness about the value of using the conscience as an inspired guide to making better lifestyle choices. In his book, Your Conscience, National Conscience Month originator Leonard Perlmutter explains how the mind can be trained to reduce inner mental conflict, which in effect will restructure external conflict. Always emphasizing a scientific approach, Perlmutter never asks people to blindly believe him, but experiment with time-tested practices. He says in today's world, people often move quickly and react automatically rather than making discerning choices. This is a coordinated opportunity to teach people how to evaluate options or to use their conscience as a guide. According to Perlmutter, today's problems were born in the human mind, and their solutions can also be found in the human mind. When we allow the mind conscious to connect us to the source of our creativity, we will discover unimaginable answers that will transform our world. Welcome, Leonard Perlmutter. How are you today?
I am fine. Thank you so much for those words and for this invitation.
You are very welcome. I am so excited to share this revolutionary National Conscious Month with our audience and the concept. Tell us, what was the inspiration for the National Conscious Month?
Well, the inspiration for National Conscience Month was simply the fact that from my own personal experience, the conscience truly is the key that can unlock everything that we're looking for. It's so interesting. In school, colleges, university, we're all taught to memorize other people's suggestions. And then we're tested on that knowledge. And if we pass, well, we might get a degree, which hopefully we think might be able to bring about a well-paying job. And that's all terrific. I'm not saying let's remove all that. What I'm saying is that the problems that we have individually and as a culture all start in the mind. The mind moves first, always. I cannot lift up my hand without first entertaining a thought. So thoughts begin the process. From thoughts come speech and physical action, and from speech and action arise consequences. So we all know what we're looking for in life. We want to be happy on some level. We want security. We want a healthy body and mind. But nobody has taught us a business plan to get to point B from point A. And as it turns out, the great set that every single human being has is the conscience, because only the conscience can reflect super conscious wisdom from the core of our being, from the center of consciousness. When we can use the conscience, we will know the thought to think, the word to speak, and the action to take that will bring us what we truly desire, namely happiness, security, and health.
So vital. This topic, especially in today's world. Tell us why. I mean, we know that the world has changed quite a bit in the last 2.5 years, and it continues to change and will continue to change very rapidly. Tell us why this topic is so vital and important in today's world.
It's important in today's world because we are in pain. If the truth be known, virtually every person is dealing with some form of intense physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual dis-ease or pain. So from my philosophical perspective, pain is not bad. I don't believe that it's bad. I believe that pain is a messenger, tapping us on the shoulder and advising, for our highest and greatest good, we need to make a mid-course correction because there's too much conflict going on inside the mind. So how beneficial is that? I think about driving my automobile to a meeting at an address that I've never been to, and I'm really not certain of the directions. So what do I do now? Oh, we've been gifted by this new technology. We call it GPS. And so I place the address in the computer, on the phone, or in the automobile now. And all of a sudden, a very lovely voice comes on and provides direction, turn by turn by turn, so that I can arrive at the correct address. Now, if I mindlessly make a wrong turn as GPS is guiding, what do you hear from GPS? I'll tell you what you hear, just one word: recalculating. So GPS is recalculating so that we can have a safe, sound journey. And that's what pain does for us. It provides us an opportunity. It's not malicious. It's not a burden. It's not happening to us. It's happening for us so that we can make a mid-course correction and more clearly align our thoughts, words, and actions with our own inner wisdom. And the more that we can do that, that reduces inner conflict. And because inner conflict is the mother of all problems, the more I reduce inner conflict, I also reduce outer conflict, both in the mind and my body, as well as in interpersonal relationships.
Yes, absolutely. And that it snowballs just as conflict snowballs.
Yes.
I love your metaphors, your analogies. They paint the picture so succinctly. So what are some of the benefits of consulting with the conscience on a regular basis?
Well, I'll tell you what the benefits have been for me, and everybody can find the benefits for themselves as they experiment. But as I began experimenting with my conscience, one of the first areas that I began to change was the food that I ate. You see, I used to eat food that I loved. But as it turns out, a lot of the food that I loved was not good for me. It brought me pain. Oh, I would get indigestion. I would get a bellyache. I would get heartburn. I would get reflux. It was uncomfortable. And yes, I saw the ads and the commercials for, those little white antacid pills that nowadays, I guess they're spiked with calcium so that we won't feel so guilty. Do something good for yourself.
Right.
Get heartburn so you can have this pill and have your daily allowance of calcium. So I began to experiment, not right away, not with everything, small things like learning how to lift weights. When I learned how to lift weights, I didn't start with 100 or 200 pounds. I started with a few pounds. And then I added a pound or two over weeks or months so that I wouldn't hurt myself. And yet, over time, I'd be lifting substantial weight without injuring myself. So, for example, if I decided that I should not eat this cookie, but I wasn't ready not to eat the cookie. The senses were still clamoring. The ego was still insistent. And there was a pretty strong habit in the unconscious mind that also favored eating the cookie. So what did I do? I cut up the cookie in quarters. So instead of one cookie, I really had 4 small cookies. And then I took 1/4 of the cookie. I brought it outside for the ants, and I consumed the other 3/4. But I at least gave up 1/4 of a cookie. Oh, I felt very good about that. And the next time I gave up 1/2 a cookie, and so on and so forth. So if it's right for us, it has to be easy. And if it's easy, it will be right. So don't take on too much too soon. That's my experience. So today, I don't eat food just because I love the food. I first ask, does this food love me? Does it love my brain? Does it nurture my eyes? Does it nurture my hearing, my liver, my kidneys, my colon, etc., etc.? Then it passes the test. And so I can consume it and see how it feels when I digest it and when it's eliminated. Because that's the entire process. We have to experiment with the entire process of eating, digesting, assimilating, and elimination. It's all part of life.
That is fantastic. I could see your conscience is the one that says, wait a minute, what is this food going to do for me or to me? Is it going to help me or is it going to attack me? Fabulous. Yes, because that's just a great way to put it very simply and that people can understand. So if you can do it in that one area, imagine all of the other areas that can benefit not only your physical body, your mental body, and then spread out from there. I totally understand, and what a wonderful way to put it. So you wrote, regardless of your unique situation, when you experiment with the creative power of your conscience, you'll always be guaranteed rewarding outcomes. What did you mean by this?
When our outer actions are in alignment with our inner wisdom, the promise is that we will always be led for our highest and greatest good. And I experimented with that. It wasn't that I took off my doubting Thomas hat. I still wore my doubting Thomas hat because I was an objective scientist experimenting. but I was willing to do the experiment. And as a consequence, I felt better virtually immediately, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. That motivated me to do another experiment and another experiment and another experiment. But each experiment was small and relatively easy to my ability to make changes.
So when you have this month of conscience coming in January, give us an idea of the unfolding of it. Will you have, for example, some guest speakers? What can people expect to experience, and where can they go for this information? I know that's a lot, but I really believe that people can benefit from this month of conscious that you've put together.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you. We do have a separate website. It's called consciencemonth.org, consciencemonth.org. And we will be having on January 6th, of 2022, we will be having a wonderful webinar. It will be free for everybody who wants to attend. And we will have a panel of yoga scientists like myself who have been experimenting, and they will share all their experiments that they have made that have benefited them and how they have benefited from them and what changes that made in their lives to inspire others not to make a New Year's resolution, which may or may not be kept, but to do an experiment. And we all know that an experiment is not as onerous as a resolution. It's not forever. It's just an experiment. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you can see the whole process. If you're going to have something different for dinner as an experiment, gosh, by the morning time, the experiment will be over and you'll already have the results. And then you can decide whether to do another experiment or not. It's up to you, depending on how you feel. So that will be the centerpiece this year. But we want people to begin starting conversations all over the country, all over the world, to motivate people to work with and understand and educate themselves to the most powerful instrument of the human being, and that is our conscience.
Yes, absolutely. So sharing their journeys or their, like you said, their experiments to encourage others to do the same. What can people hope to learn from being a part of this and sharing? I feel like there's collaboration. You're encouraging people to connect with others. Give us an idea of your vision when you created this.
Okay, I certainly hope that you can receive this well, but I had no expectations. I had no desires, and I still don't now. I want to be as surprised and pleased as everybody about what happens. I don't want to be tripped up by some kind of expectation that might not come about and be disappointed. So I have no expectations. I have no desires. What I do have is experience. This has worked for me. And as you set up at the beginning of this chat that we're having now, I never ask people to believe a word that I say. But if they're interested, I urge them with all my strength to experiment in your own life. Experiment. Make small changes as a scientist would, and then stand back in a detached way and contemplate as you examine. How do I feel physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually now that the experiment is completed? Well, my experience has always been I have felt better physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And that motivated me to do another experiment and another one. So, what would I be tickled with if people began doing? Whatever is best for them. That would be ideal. But at least we would be connected to our conscience that can reflect super conscious wisdom. And the answer will be different for each of us because we are very complicated, holistic organisms. And I truly believe that every human being is living in a separate universe. You know, even siblings, brothers and sisters that we grew up with uh, at home uh, didn't have the same experience.
No.
It's very interesting. I talk to my sister and ask her, whoa, do you remember this? Do you remember that? No, I don't really remember that. And if she does remember it, she doesn't really remember it that way. So it's so interesting.
Yes, it's true. I have 5 siblings, and we're all very unique and very different.
Yes.
And yes, there's no question that it's very interesting that we're all our own unique universe.
And
And
I want everybody to be their unique self because each unique human being has a beautiful work of art inside of them that they are in the process of creating. I would like to see that work of art. I would like to see your work of art and experience it and benefit from it. And my experience is the best way to create that work of art is by being guided by the conscience. Let that be
mm,
your muse. Let that be your guide.
yes, beautiful. Taking a look at the masterpiece within. Yes,
Yes. I
definitely.
mean, nobody wants to die with the music still inside. No,
No.
be able to sing our song for the world.
So this is, yes. So by coming to the seminar and listening, a spark may be lit for you to begin the journey to find that masterpiece within you. Absolutely. Beautiful.
That
I
would
love
be
it.
lovely. That would be lovely.
Yeah.
I love it, Mike.
Well, I know that you've got some health and wellness topics that will be explored. I know you mentioned that story and how they're connected with the conscience. Are there going to is all of these health and wellness then going to be experienced through the experiences of your speakers? If
Yes,
we
and
have,
myself,
okay,
myself
okay,
as well as my wife,
okay,
and so yes,
wonderful. Now tell us, I read on your website, you have a very interesting contest. You have the National Conscious Month contest.
yes,
Just share that with our audience because I think there are many that will be interested, and I love the concept myself.
good. Well, we are offering a $2,000 scholarship to one high school senior who will write an essay on either how they use the conscience or they rejected the advice of the conscience and what was the outcome. So it might
Mm,
be a benefit or it might be a learning experience. Painful initially, but a stepping stone nonetheless to more skillful action going forward. How did you use your conscience, either by using the conscience or rejecting the advice of the conscience? And you write a short little essay, and the winner will receive a $2,000 scholarship toward higher education.
mm. That is brilliant. And I think you also said that it could be imaginary as well. Am I right? Or does it have to be something that you've experienced yourself?
We would prefer it's something that they experience themselves, because then they are speaking from their own personal experience. And when we speak from our own personal experience, that truth has power in the world, has
Hmm.
power. So I'm not looking for fiction. I'm looking for nonfiction. I'm looking for your personal experience because I want to know your truth.
Mm. Okay. I'm glad that makes complete sense. I'm glad we cleared that up. Exactly. From their experience, others will learn. Yes.
Yes, yes.
And this is what the core of your seminar is. From their experiences, others will learn. So
That's
I'm
right.
very
And there'll
excited.
be all sorts of, there'll be all many, many different topics. It's not just with food and health, but I know one of the participants uh, has discovered the importance and the practicality of prayer.
Mm.
Interesting. The power and the practicality of prayer. And now that's an integral part of this man's daily life. Not necessarily a petitionary prayer, asking for this or asking for that, or making a deal for this or for that, but rather a prayer which offers back to the Supreme all those faulty concepts that presently are stored on the hard drive of the mind.
Mm.
Things that we fear, things that we get angry about, things that we unnecessarily desire. To give those back to the origin from which they came is very, very powerful, because then the mind becomes freer and freer to listen to the wise and good counsel of the conscience.
Yes. It's a cleansing.
It is a
It's like,
cleansing. It's a
yeah,
purification and a cleansing. It truly is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're
And it's
making space.
interesting.
Go ahead.
That's right. I was just thinking that the more that each of us purifies our own mind by giving up old faulty concepts, the ones that we might have gotten from mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, or celebrities or politicians or the culture, the more we give up those faulty concepts that only have caused me and others pain, I change my consciousness.
Mm.
I purify my consciousness. And the more that I change and purify my consciousness, it purifies the consciousness of the planet, because
Mm.
we all have the same consciousness within us, right? That's why
Yeah.
Jesus, speaking as the Christ, says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Why?
Mm.
Because it's a cool idea? Well, it is a cool idea, but I'm sure that's not why he advised it. He advised it because on the highest level of consciousness, our neighbor is ourself. Even though that neighbor has a different body, a different mind, a different personality, and a different set of habits, the consciousness within my neighbor and myself are really one.
Mm. Yes, absolutely. This is why they say the vibration, that
Yes,
emanates from
that's
within.
yes.
Definitely, it's a collective. There's no question about it. There, that we are a collective. If there was one message, Leonard, that you could share with people about using their conscience, what would that be?
That would be that every thought is into your awareness is only a suggestion. It is not an imperial command. And yet, for every thought that comes into your awareness, your conscience will know whether you should convert it into speech and action or sacrifice it back to the origin from which it came to be repurposed in the form of healing energy, willpower, and an expansion of your creative capacity.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I don't want to add anything to it. It's just perfect. How can people get involved and participate besides tapping into the seminar and being there? I know that you had on your website that you would love people to get involved and even participate in the month-long consciousness or conscience summit.
Yes, that would be lovely. So there you can register both on consciencemonth.org, and you can visit our regular website, americanmeditation.org, americanmeditation.org. And I would offer an invitation, an offer to everybody on the homepage of americanmeditation.org is a free link. Every Sunday morning from 9:30 to 11, that's Eastern Time, I invite you for a free guided meditation and philosophical conversation, just like you and I have been having here, Jane. And there you will find out an awful lot of information about Conscience Month coming up in January, as well as other activities sponsored by the American Meditation Institute. And you don't even have to attend if you live in a different time zone or it's not convenient. As long as you register for that class, which is free, the following Monday you will receive a recording that is also free that you can use throughout the week. So it's a win-win situation. So we'll be connected and we'll be growing the support for these concepts like National Conscience Month.
Fabulous. Oh my gosh. We will have all of that information on the site. And also you can, like, as Leonard said, go to americanmeditationinstitute.com where you can pick up that information for the link. But that is such a fabulous offering. And I love that you're recording it because you're right. There are people in different time zones and all over the world, as I'm sure,
Yes.
as we interview people from all over the world. And I will share that with everyone. Well, any last words that you would like to share, Leonard?
Just that if you begin to experiment and you need any type of advice, I'm always available. So feel free to send me an email. You can reach me through americanmeditation.org, and I'd be happy to share my experience with you. So don't think that you're out on a limb by yourself. You're never alone.
Thank you so much for that generous offer. Once again, we're looking forward to this. It's a great way to start the new year, to create this movement and get some momentum. It's definitely something that everybody can use these days, no matter where you are, and no matter what your situation is. And I believe too, Leonard, it would be applicable to people of all ages, wouldn't it?
All ages, all political affiliations, all races. You know,
Right.
all you need is a body and a mind.
Well, that might be a lot to ask of some people. I don't know. I'm sure you might have met some. But Okay, there you go. There's your challenge, everybody. All you need is a body and a mind. Be sure to bring your mind with you when you're listening,
Yes,
because
because
we
we
know
want everybody to be conscious about what happens. In
exactly.
other words, awake and not asleep.
Exactly. One last question, actually. I thought of it. Will you be recording the summit? The
Yes,
one
for sure.
day?
Sure, and
Okay.
that will be available. You bet. And that will be posted then on YouTube.
Okay, wonderful. That's great to know, because there may be people who have other things going on that particular day,
For
but
sure.
that'll be really, and when we have that link, we will also share it and put it up on the site, and it'll be on our social media platforms as well. Well, thank you again so much, Leonard, for being here. I always have so many questions for you and learned so much. I love your stories. I love your humor, and more so, I love your conscience, your mind. It is so creative, and the way you deliver messages, it makes people understand better the work that you are doing. Your metaphors and your stories, they hit home because people remember stories. I have shared your stories that you shared in our previous interview with so many people. You have no idea.
Well,
But there
that's
you go.
wonderful.
Yeah, there
You
you
know,
go.
it's got to be practical and
Yes,
commonsensical in order
abs-
to benefit from my energy. And so I just want to share that with folks.
yes, absolutely. I agree. Well, once again, everyone, you can find all of Leonard's information on the Conscious Month starting January 2022. And be sure to visit me on Instagram at janeapplegath.com. And to become an epic entrepreneur, be sure to check out janeapplegath.com. This is the Epic Vision Zone, transforming your dreams into epic success.